Okay, here we go. This is part 4, the last part of the walkthroughs for the first simulation, for the project simulation. Again, your circuit should look like this. We're going to be picking up from here. If it doesn't look like it does on the screen, you need to probably go back and watch the earlier videos, make sure you're all caught up. So we left off here, and just like before, it's getting a little crowded, so now we already did pin 4. Took care of that one, so now our new one is in the red or the pink. So it looks complicated, but if we take it one pin at a time, we can probably simplify it. So let's start with pin 5. Pin 5 has a non-polarized resistor and it goes to ground. So we need a non-polarized resistor. So let's go into our components. If we scroll down right next to the polarized capacitor, here's a regular capacitor. Now the key is it's getting a little busy over here. It's getting a little crowded. And I don't want this capacitor to have anything to do with the switch. But that's the nice thing about a breadboard. I can put this wherever I want, and I have wires to connect it. So it doesn't matter how far away I put it. All that matters is the connections. So I'm actually going to spin it like this, and I'm going to put it below my switch. So it doesn't even come close to it. And I turned it this way so that it's not interfering with my sight. I can see all of the breadboard just fine. Otherwise, if I were to rotate it like this, it's kind of in the way of the breadboard. It still works, but I'm going to make it easy on myself. All right, so remember you need to make sure that the 2 pins are in separate rows because otherwise those pins are short-circuited together. All right, so you want to put it like this. So I put mine on row 18 and row 19. So if we look at our schematic, one side of the capacitor right here is connected to pin 5. So I'm going to take it, doesn't matter what row I grab from, I'm just going to do the closest one. So I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to put it there. All right. Now I've got it connected just fine. So if we look at our schematic, we've got a capacitor connected to pin 5 on one end, and on the other end, we need to connect it to ground. So I can do this and connect it to ground. All right, so that takes care of this resistor, or this capacitor, sorry. All right, so I look at my schematic again. I see capacitor from pin 5 connected there, goes through the capacitor, and it's going to come out on this end, connects to ground, just like that. All right, so we're done with pin 5. Let's move up to pin 6. So pin 6, I'm gonna take a look at this right here, and I'm gonna notice that this just is a wire. I've got a wire going from pin 6 up here to pin 7. That couldn't be any easier. If it's just a wire, just use a wire. Here's pin 6, here's pin 7. Let's just connect those 2 rows together. That's it. Just a wire. The last thing that I have to deal with is this polarized capacitor. All right, so this polarized capacitor, I'm going to need another one of these guys. So I'm going to go into my components. All right, so there's my polarized capacitor. Let's grab that. All right, this is going to get a little bit tricky because, again, I'm starting to get pretty crowded here. All right, so I'm actually going to, if you click on the white space and drag, I can move the whole thing up a little bit. So I'm going to give myself plenty of room to work because I'm going to put my polarized capacitor down here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now these terminals, again, need to be on different rows, so I need to rotate it. And I'll rotate it towards the middle of the breadboard, just like this. There we go. Now, remember to keep track of which side is positive and which is negative. The one with the gray stripe, you can hover over it, that's negative. And here's positive. We got to keep track of that because it matters how we connect this. So the negative part of the resistor, or of the capacitor, is connected to pin 6. So this negative part is connected to pin 6, just a wire straight across. So here's my negative part. And I'm going to take a wire from anywhere on this row, I'm going to pick here. And I'm going to drag it up, up, up to pin 6 and drop it. And that's it. Negative part, wire, pin 6. That row is connected to pin 6. Okay, that takes care of this part. And the last one is my positive side needs to be connected. If I follow this, needs to be connected to ground. All right. So I'm going to take my positive, or I'm going to take, my positive side. I'm just going to take a wire and connect it to ground, like that. All right. Now, we're all done. Okay, so that's the end of the video series. That's the end of the walkthrough. If you notice, I actually left 2 pieces off. I left off pin 3, and I left off the rest of pin 7. There's more to it. So if we take a look, we compare the 2 schematics. All right, so you see here's pin 3. I don't have anything there yet. And here's pin 7. We already did the bridge from pin 7 to pin 6, but I left off this resistor. I left those off because I'm pretty sure by now that you should be able to do this. There's no multiple connections. They just go straight across. They're one connection apiece, and that's it. So go ahead, give it a shot on your own, and if you need help, talk to somebody else. Somebody else might be able to help you.